Japan, we are trying to spread the word Islam downside up. But if looking for the history of the spreading of the Islam, we find different examples for the Islam spreading from up down, not down up. So do you think for us as a Muslims trying to make da'wah in here, that we need to shift and change our strategies towards spreading Islam up, down, and not down, up? This is my two questions, and thank you very much in advance.
There were two questions. The first question, he said that he heard my talk, and he found many examples of USA, but not of Japan, and talking about rape, etc. And there's no concern of rape and safety here. I do agree with brother to a great extent, but not completely. Not that I didn't speak about Japan, I spoke a few things about Japan.
Yes, you did.
You saying I didn't speak is wrong.
No,
I did speak, but I spoke less as compared to USA. Why?
Yeah,
There was a hikmah behind that. I started my talk with Japan and ended my talk with Japan. I started my talk with Japan talking about Hiroshima, and the bomb document was the worst thing done in human history. I ended by saying, here there is more security, here there is more safety, etc. I ended with that. So I did speak about Japan, but that's why. Now, there is something which you give the message indirectly, sometimes you give directly. Quran says in Surah Nahl, chapter 16, verse 125, Udu ila sabili rabbika bil hikmah wal mawadatil hasana wajadil billati hasan. And I don't have to translate to the brother because he knows Arabic better than me. Then invite all to the way of thy Lord with wisdom and beautiful preaching, and argue with them, and reason with them in the ways that are best most gracious. Now, hikmah means sometimes they pray directly, sometimes indirectly. Sometimes tell on the face you are wrong, sometimes tell something. And Quran says in Surah Nahl, chapter 16, verse 43, that Fasalu ahli zikri in kuntum. Ask the person who is an expert. So my field of dawah is a speciality with non-Muslims. And I'll give you two reasons why I chose this type. There are two styles. When I spoke about America telling this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, number one, something is called as master key. Master key means opens all the locks, anywhere in the world. What I was doing was master key. Why? Most of the people in the world look up to USA as number one, unfortunately. Including Japan. Now, what we see in Japan today, the culture, quite a great extent is because of Western influence. Do you agree or not? If you go, if you see, today, the second number 2 city for nightlife in the world is which? Tokyo. Influence of the Western world coming. So there is influence of Western world, whether it be because of Hollywood, whether it was this, it get translated, it's influenced the Arab world a lot. Whatever said and done, I know that they don't like America. And I personally also disagree with most of the views of America. I disagree. They may be good in technology, but I have to agree with that. So indirectly I was telling, don't be influenced by the Western culture. Wearing minis, is it a culture of Japan? See, all these elderly ladies, how they were dressed. You saw them? Decently. But see the young Japanese, how are they dressed? Influence of the Western culture. So I'm trying to demolish the idealistic form. This is one style of that. Point number 2, why I use that strategy. We have got our crew, and this program will be telecast on the English channel, reaching 100 million people, reaching more than 1.5 billion people, viewed by 100 million people. And for these 1.5 billion people also, 100 million people watching, for them, their idealistic country is USA. I'm trying to demolish that. Idealistic country should be those who are modest. One style of dawa is this. The second is ta'alaw ila kalimatin sawa'in bainakum. Come to common terms as been assembled. In this, a person who is living here and staying here should do. So a person who's based in Japan and a guy who's based in Japan knowing the culture very well, if we do research, we can find something, but not that much. So a person like you staying here, besides using my strategy, which should be less, should be a strategy. There should be a strategy which the Quran says, "Ta'alaw ila kalimatin sawa'in bayna bainakum." Come to common terms as with us. And there are many commonalities. So when you are staying here, as you rightly said, that you stayed for more than 20 years here, there may be many reasons. But according to scholars, a person who does hijrah from a Muslim country to a non-Muslim country, and I said that yesterday also in Fukuoka, that if someone is coming for a living or for whatever it is, you do hijrah from a Muslim country to a non-Muslim, sometime maybe by force, yours may be a different case. Yours may be a different case. I'm not pointing at you so much, as much as I'm pointing to the Bangladeshis or to the Pakistani. Your country has a different political situation. But Pakistan and Bangladesh are different political. And there are more Pakistanis, I'm told, in Japan than Syrians.
That's right.
Correct?
That's right.
So my thing to them is that if you have come to Japan to seek a living, most of the scholars say if you come to a country, foreign country for education, no problem, go back. But if you go from a Muslim country to a non-Muslim country for a living, you can only go there for dawa. You can go for education, come back. So if you have come here, and if you don't do dawa, you will be held responsible on the day of judgment. On the day of judgment, Allah will ask you, that Allah let you stay. And I met so many Pakistani, 25 years, 30 years. Fine, some maybe give, no, I do dawa, how much part-time? Part-time dawa, 1 hour a week. At least 4 hours a week, at least 5 hours a week you should do. Allah will not ask me on the day of judgment, Dr. Zakir Naik, why did you do dawa to Japan? Will he ask me? He will ask you. He will ask the Pakistanis who are living here. He will ask the Bangladeshi. I am just a traveler. Whatever I do, 1 mark or 2 marks, I will get some sawab. For you, it is your fard. Me, it is a fard to do dawa with the people around me, but not Japanese, but yet I am going extra mile. So for you all, it becomes the fard that you all learn what is required here and compare and give dawa in Japanese language. Now today, I was feeling so bad that I did not know Japanese. Wallah, inshallah, if I knew Japanese, both these two ladies would have accepted Islam. Inshallah. Inshallah is there, not me. Yesterday, through translation, I got one Japanese converted to Islam. Yesterday. She was a young lady in the early 20s. And she cried. She knew Japanese. Someone was translating. In the question and session, it took about 10 minutes. So I am feeling bad that the inability of me not knowing Japanese. But I tried through translation. May Allah give me sawab for that. But your people who know Japanese, Allah will question you. Your job is to deliver the message. Conversion in the hands of Allah. Conversion, even Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, it was in the hands of Allah. Surah Ghashiya, chapter 88, verse number 19-20. Our job is to deliver the message. Converting in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if we want to get more sawab, so as you know, Peace TV, MashaAllah, launched the first channel English, Alhamdulillah, approximately 10 years back, having a viewership of 100 million now. We launched the second channel, Peace TV Urdu, in 2009, about 6.5 years back. We launched the third channel, Peace TV Bangla, in 2011, April, about 4.5 years back. And now, inshallah, we have launched the test run. And next month, we will launch Peace TV Chinese. I don't know Chinese, I don't know Bangla. But they have to be instrumental in making Islam reach every home. My beloved Prophet ﷺ said, Inshallah, Islam one day will reach every home. I want to pray to Allah that make me instrumental and Peace TV instrumental in making Islam reach every home. So coming back to your question, I do agree with you that there are different strategies. Me as a person going in different parts of the world, I take the master. Master. One is called a specific key. The master key works a little bit at tweak, but there's something like one thing like a general physician, one is like a specialist. I am more specialist of, besides Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, and Buddhism also. Not that I'm not. You understand? No? So in this way, mashallah, if I want to be specialist of all the religions, in India alone, there are more than 1,500 languages. If I spend my full life also, I cannot learn even 1%. Even if I have to try and learn 10%, I cannot. So what we do, therefore my target is to have PhD in 10 major languages of the world. So when I cover 10 major languages of the world, I am covering 75% of the world population. Hikmah. And Japanese, unfortunately, does not come on the top 10 languages of the world. Maybe, inshallah, if I finish first and now, Chinese is number 1 in the world. Number 2 is Urdu. Sorry, number 2 is English. Number 3 is Hindi, Urdu put together. So I've covered the first 3, mashallah. And Bangladesh is the 6th largest language in the world. So we have a target of first top 10. But it is the people who are living in Japan to see to it that you increase your dawa, whether it be books, whether it be social media, whether it be satellite channel. To start a satellite channel is easy. 10, 15 Muslim brothers come together and get started. So pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But I do agree with you that people who are living here, who know Japanese, if you speak in Japanese, the chances of them accepting is much more. And via translation, the message gets distorted to a great extent, difficult. And one more thing, I know that you speak Japanese very fluently. I'm there with you since morning. You were speaking so fluently, but when it came to Dawa, it went down. Why?
That's right.
Why?
That's right.
I mean, I really appreciate it, brother. It's not a negative factor. But you're not used to using Dawa words in Japanese.
I don't have Islamic terminology, let's say, in
You know Arabic. Arabic is the most important language. You know Arabic better than me. I know Hiroshima. My son knows, my daughter knows. My son speaks Lugha Fusa. My daughter speaks Lugha Fusa. I taught them Arabic from the age of 3. So you are in a better position than me. You can directly from the Quran, from Arabic to Japanese, you can do. You don't require English in between, correct? Arabic is a mother tongue. You have no excuse, brother. But.
Giving me a lot of pressure.
but the reason is you are not used to it. You know Arabic is a mother tongue, you know Japanese, and you speak fluently, I can watch. Even though I don't know Japanese because I'm experienced man. The way you speak, the thing is that you are not used to using Dawa terminologies in Japanese. You understand? Same way a person knows English and Arabic fluently. But if I tell you to translate Quran, you'll fumble. Because they're not used to translating the Arabic words of the Quran to English. So it is a practice. So I request the people who are staying here, they get the practice of using Japanese to convey the message of Islam. It's one of the criteria to go to Jannah. Allah says in Surah Al-Asr, chapter 103, verse 1 to 3, وَلَسْ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ فِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. That by the token of time, man is very in a state of loss, except those who have faith, those who have righteous deed, those who exhort people to truth, and those who exhort people to patience and perseverance. The minimum 4 criteria required for any human being to go to Jannah is Iman. Number 2 is righteous deed. Number 3 is exhorting people to truth, to Dawa and Islam. And number 4 is exhorting people to patience and perseverance. If any one of these 4 is missing, you may be a very good Muslim, you may be offering 5 times Salah, you may have gone for Hajj, you may be paying Zakat. But if you don't do Dawa, according to Surah, you should not go to Jannah. Only Dawa is also not sufficient, all are equally important. Iman, righteous deed, Dawa, and exhorting people to patience and perseverance. It's the fard, compulsory, at least to be a part-time dai, if not a full-time dai. At least a part-time dai. So I request those expatriates, those Muslims who have come from Bangladesh, from Pakistan, from Indonesia, from India, from the Arab countries, from Egypt, from Syria, it is your duty that if you have come here for a living, whether right or wrong is secondary, you at least convey the message. And don't fool yourself by saying, okay, 1 hour a week I do. 1 hour a week is spare time, not even part-time. Out of 24/7, that's equal to more than 168 hours, you are giving 1 hour is less than 1%. That is not called part-time, that's called spare time. Part-time means at least a couple of hours a day, at least 2-3 hours a day, minimum. So inshallah, I hope that you implement that. So next time when I come to Japan, you'll find more Islam spreading, inshallah. So coming to a second question which I didn't understand correctly, when you said that you dawa from top to down and down to top. I don't understand what do you mean.
Usually, for example, when we are talking from down up, we are talking to normal people. From up down, you are talking for example, for somebody, let's say, in the position of prime minister. When a prime minister, for example, get to be a Muslim, this picture is going to go down the whole way, and you'll find more people. For example, the Islam when getting into Indonesia, into Malaysia, it went from up down. So this was my question: should we target, let's say, financially very rich people, politicians, somebody up, so they can spread the Islam when getting?
There was a question that should we target more of the influential people, the rich people, the politically powerful, etc., or the low people? The Quran says in a verse that target the head of the kuffars, the more top. That does not mean it is further every Muslim. If you have contact with top people, do top people. If you have contact with down people, you will get equal sabab. You understand? But if there's option, you can do top and down and you have only time for one. For example, if you're a doctor, a person comes with heart attack and a person comes with a small cut or a bruise. And both come together and doctor has time only to treat one patient. Who will he treat? Heart attack. Emergency. So if you have less time, if you have to talk to a Muslim or non-Muslim, talk to non-Muslim. Better. Muslim you can talk later on. Between the two non-Muslim, one is a very influential, one is another. But that does not mean that you neglect the poor people, and that is about Surah Awasth. A verse was revealed which you know very well, that chapter number 80, that when Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was speaking with the head of the kuffars of Makkah, this person, Sahaba, who was a blind man, comes to the Prophet, and the Prophet frowned. And because of him, Allah remembered him. And there's a verse revealed. The Prophet, whenever he met him, he said, because of you, Allah remembered. So that does not mean he meant a blind man. Logically, if you compare the head, the king, and the blind man who is a Muslim, who's more important? Who's more important? The king, the leaders. But yet, Allah says you may never know that that blind person may get hidayah, may get some guidance. So you cannot neglect them. For us as a layman, we'll go to the main people. But for the Prophet, he's so superior. Because he frowned, he didn't reject him, he didn't abuse him, he didn't hit him, he didn't curse him, he only frowned. But the Prophet is of such a high caliber, if you and I frown, it is normal. It's no problem. But for the Prophet to such a high caliber, it is not befitting the Prophet of Allah, who is a mercy to humankind, to frown. Otherwise, it's not wrong at all. He didn't come with an appointment. Those people had come with an appointment. But yet, so this is the beauty of Islam. It equates everyone, at the same time gives importance. I do agree with you, as the Quran says, target the head of kuffar. I do agree with you totally. But that does not mean, for example, a layman cannot reach the Prime Minister. Those who can reach, and there's a hadith which says that the dwellers of hellfire, they will pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that may we not go to that part of hellfire which is the worst. The Sahaba asked, which is this part? So the Prophet replied, those who are advisors to the king and give them wrong advice. So even in hellfire there are stages. So dwellers of hellfire will pray to Allah that let us not go to that worst part of hellfire. And they are the advisors. So if you advise to the king to please him, not the haq, then you will be in the lowest part of the hellfire. So I do agree with you that you have to try whichever strategy you can, but don't do something. Most of the people point the finger, he's doing now, why should I? He's doing, he'll go to Jannah, what about me? So both strategies are required, top to down and down to top, and even middle. Middle top and middle top. Hope that's good.
Jazakallah khairan.
Any sitters have any questions? We can have